Hey, I'm Penny Panda. Let's make your money smarter. Quick question. Do you actually know where last month's paycheck went? Not roughly. Not mostly rent and food. Actually, no. Down to the dollar. If you can't answer that, you're not alone. Most people don't fail at budgeting because they're bad with money. They fail because they tried a system with 14 categories, 3 apps, and a spreadsheet that made them feel like a tax accountant. So they quit in 2 weeks and went back to just hoping it works out. Today, I'm breaking down the 50-30-20 rule, the simplest budgeting system that actually survives real life. 3 buckets, 1 decision every time you spend. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which bucket is wrecking your budget right now. Let's go. First, where this actually comes from. Back in 2005, Harvard bankruptcy professor Elizabeth Warren studied why so many families kept drowning in debt. Her answer wasn't people are careless. It was nobody ever gave them a simple system. So she built one. To decades later, financial advisors still teach it because it's one of the only budgeting rules simple enough to survive contact with real life. Here's how it works. Take your after-tax income, what actually lands in your account, and split it 3 ways. Bucket 1, 50% for needs. This is the stuff you can't skip. Rent, groceries, electricity, car, payment, insurance, minimum debt payments. If skipping it gets your lights turned off or gets you evicted, it goes here. Netflix doesn't. Your gym membership you haven't used since January doesn't. Needs, not comfortable wants wearing a disguise. Bucket 2, 30% for wants. This is where life happens. Dinner out, a weekend trip, new shoes you didn't need but wanted. Here's the mistake most people make. They think a real budget cuts this bucket to 0. Wrong. A budget with no room for joy is a budget you quit in 3 weeks. 30% means you get to actually live guilt-free because it's already planned for. Bucket 3, 20% for savings and debt payoff. This is the bucket that builds your future. Emergency fund, extra debt payments beyond the minimum. Your 401k, index funds. This is the money that turns into freedom later. Quitting a bad job without panicking. Handling a surprise repair without a credit card. Retiring before you're exhausted. 50, 30, 20. No 14 categories. No app pinging you over a $5 coffee. Just 3 buckets. And 1 question every time money moves. Which bucket does this belong to? Let's make it real. Say your take-home pay is for $1,000 a month. $2,000 goes to needs. Rent, car, groceries, phone bill. $1,200 goes to wants, dinners, subscriptions, a spontaneous trip. $800 goes to savings and debt. Some into your 401k match. Some into an emergency fund. Some extra onto a credit card balance. 6 months of this, and you haven't felt restricted once. You still go out. You still treat yourself sometimes. But you've also quietly built up nearly $5,000 that didn't exist before. Because every dollar had a job the second it arrived. That's the real trick here. This isn't about restriction. It's about direction. Now 3 fast fixes for where people usually get stuck. 1. Your needs already eat more than 50%. This is common right now, especially with rent where it is. Don't panic. Don't quit the system. Start at 60/20 to 20. Even 70/20, 10 if you have to. Treat 50/30, 20 as the destination, not the starting line. 2. You're already debt-free with a solid emergency fund. Then your 20% becomes pure wealth building, straight into retirement accounts and long-term investing, where time does the heavy lifting for you. 3. Your income is irregular, freelance, gig work, commission. Same rule. Apply to whatever you actually made that month. Lean harder into the savings bucket in good months, so it covers you in the lean ones. Here's why this rule has outlasted 1,000 budgeting trends. It respects how people actually behave. Most budgets don't fail because the math is hard. They fail because the system is too rigid to survive real life. A birthday dinner, a rough month, a subscription you forgot about. 50/30, 20 bends without breaking. It's a guardrail, not a set of handcuffs. So here's your homework, and it takes 5 minutes. Open your banking app right now. Find last month's after-tax income. Multiply it by 0.5, by 0.3, and by 0.2. Write those three numbers down. That's your target. Not a rule you need to hit perfectly this month. Just a number you finally know. Let's recap fast. 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings and debt. Adjust the ratio if you're not there yet. But always know your numbers. The people who build wealth aren't the ones with the most complicated system. They're the ones with a simple system they actually stick to. So here's my question for you. Which bucket is currently blowing past its limit for you? Needs, wants, or savings? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone, and most people are surprised which bucket is actually the problem. If this helped you make sense of your budget, hit subscribe. I'm breaking down exactly how that 20% bucket turns into real compounding wealth next week. And the one mistake that quietly kills most people's savings before it even starts. Remember, every dollar has a job. See you in the next lesson.